What it do, everybody? We are live in the booth and we are back for our March transits. So transits in astrology are basically just where the planets are currently, and how they are corresponding to the things that are going on in our lives. As studying astrology, what I found is that the planets are always corresponding to something that's going on. And so what I like to do now is to just like look at it, see what it is, and then continue living my life and not allowing it to have, not allowing the planet's influence to dictate how I behave, but more so seeing how the planets it did influence the way I behaved without me really knowing kind of what exactly it was, or so I drop these so that you can kind of know what's coming and then just go free. Like, just go free and then come back and say, wow, like, yeah, I did really see when this particular thing happened that, well, this particular planet switched here or did this. I did see that I had some things that were kind of related to that particular sign going on. So that's just how I like to do it. Everybody is different. So if you resonate with how we roll around Live in the Booth, then please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Alrighty. So let's get into it. Okay, so today, as I make this video, Mercury has already moved into Pisces. So Mercury moved into Pisces today at 5:52 p.m. And I think the database that I'm using, it's in Eastern time. So Eastern time at 5:52 p.m. Is when Mercury moved into Pisces. So Mercury is our communication. It's how we communicate, whether that be speaking, writing, text messages, phones, announcements, a little bit of social media, but it's more so like that close communication to people who you like know, or it's like your style of communication, kind of how you want to convey what you're thinking to the next person, however you do that. And since Mercury went into Pisces, we'll be looking to see like how we're conveying maybe like our dreams, our aspirations. Pisces is that creativity that we have. So our creativity, our spirituality, whether that be a religious base, whether that be, stones and crystals, whether that be a creator, a Jehovah, I couldn't think of whether that be a Buddha, whether that be a Christ, whether that be whatever, but how you exhibit that spirituality, how you exhibit your connection to source, is definitely going to be prevalent during this time, because we're communicating kind of like with spirit. We're communing with spirit. And Pisces is really it's a very spiritual and watery sign. Sometimes we can get very caught up in the spiritual, and not being so grounded, and not being just happy also in the space that is Earth, because we know that Earth is a physical place. However, spirit is something that can be seen or touched, but Earth is definitely touchable. And so when we talk about Pisces, we're talking about those things that are untouchable, those feelings, those psychic hits, those things that we kind of know deeply within our bones. However, when dealing with Pisces, we're also talking about delusion and illusion and things that we create within our own minds. So being aware that this time is a great time for you to communicate the things that you want to create within your life. It's always a great time for that. But specifically when Mercury is in Pisces, it's a good time for you to communicate dreams, hopes, beliefs, those types of things. But also beware that things can kind of be a little bit blurry when it comes to communication. Things may be a little hard to understand because they're so like airy fairy. They may be hard to understand. So keep that in mind as we move throughout the rest of the time where Mercury is in Pisces. Okay, March 7th, we have the full moon coming up in Virgo. So a full moon is a combination of everything that has happened from one moon phase to the other. So the new moon is a time for we're calling in what it is that we want to see. The full moon is, okay, we've called it in, we see it. Now it's time to release things that, that we need to release in order to bring in what we're bringing in again from the next new moon. So a full moon is a combination of the things that we have brought in. And it's also challenging us to see, okay, I've brought these new things in, but I need to also become new in this space. I brought this in, now I need to release this. So it's kind of how life works, right? You bring things in and then you release. So that's what's going on. And with it being in Virgo, it's talking about maybe our different health habits. It's talking about our criticism of ourselves and others. It's talking about our service oriented, like are we service oriented and what we are doing for service to mankind, to humanity. How are we serving in that capacity? So look at the combination of what's been going on, how you've been serving, and if you need to make changes, if you need to look at the combination and then release to create a new way to serve. And then also, full moon in Virgo is talking about your health. So your health as far as the combination of your health, of all the things that have been going into your health. Do you like it? If you don't, there's something that you need to release. And then also, Virgo can also speak to the nervous system and kind of just that analytical thinking space in the mind. So the things that you have been thinking, the combination of things that you've been thinking, and allowing to get your nerves moving. Is it worth it? Is it something that you want to keep? Is it something that you want to release because it's the full moon? So be aware of what you have created on March 7th, the full moon. What have I created? And what am I willing to release in order to create the next phase, the next level up of my life? Okay, March 7th, Saturn goes into Pisces, so it's going to be joining Mercury. So that communication that we were having that was a bit blurry, Saturn may help to ground it a little bit. Kind of get into there, help to ground it just a little bit. So some of the things that we've been trying to say, maybe we need to restructure how we're going to say it, restructure some of those dreams, some of those goals, things like that, and really get to the point where we're really being practical in the application of our dreams. And your dream doesn't have to be this huge big thing, you know. It can just be your dream of having a peace of mind, your dream of, you know, being able to just, you know, get up for a walk in the morning, or meditate, or, you know, have silence, eat differently, since, you know, we just had the full moon in Virgo. So whatever your dream is, it's time for you to restructure and walk into that, feel into that, because once again, Pisces is our feelings, and Saturn wants to make it practical. It wants to ground it. And I know we hear a lot about Saturn being a restriction, but I've come to find that there are restrictions when there comes to Saturn, but there are restrictions because we need to restructure. Okay, and so then we have March 12th, Jupiter is going to be conjunct Chiron. So Chiron is our collective wound. Both of these are going to be in Aries. Chiron is where we hurt. And right now, the collective is going through a wound to the self. A wound to the self-esteem, a wound to the I am, to the God self, really, that is able to move without fear, that is able to move based on instinct. So a lot of us are healing that self-esteem and healing that confidence to go for it within ourselves. We're healing that. And so Jupiter comes on the 12th and expands that. It expands whatever it is that we have been feeling when it comes to Chiron, whatever stage that we're at when it comes to Chiron, because Chiron is the wounded healer. And it's an actual asteroid. So it's not a planet, but it's an asteroid. And so it's the wounded healer. So it's wounded, but it heals from the womb. It goes through it and it heals. So wherever you are on that self-esteem tip, wherever you are on that God body tip, being able to really step into your sovereignty and your supreme power as the God and Goddess that you are, as the light being that you are. If you're still wounded in that area, or if you're more so stepping into it and you've healed from it and now you're able to kind of, you know, really stand up in that, Jupiter is just going to shine a microphone on it, expand it. Whatever it is, it's just going to expand it. March 16th, Venus is moving into Taurus. So Venus actually joins the North Node in Taurus. And so Venus, of course, it comes out. Let's see, where was Venus previously? Venus was in Aries. It went there on February 20th. So now Venus goes into Taurus. Venus loves to be in Taurus. Venus is Taurus. Venus rules Taurus. So this is going to be a time of natural luxuries. Not the luxuries that you feel like you need to go to the Chanel store and ball out, but the luxury of laying in your backyard or being at a park, eating good foods, and, you know, maybe getting a massage, you know, by your loved one, and just enjoying like the simple pleasures and the simple natures of life, the luxuries of life, which Taurus is all about, like the natural luxuries. But don't get it wrong, Taurus loves its things, and it loves, you know, its material comfort, but however, it does love just the natural beauty that is life. So around the time that Venus goes into Taurus, pay attention to the natural beauty that is your life. Also, it's going to be, of course, Taurus, we're talking about money. So, you know that we're, quote unquote, in a recession or inflation and things like that. So this is a time when people get rich. It's a time when people change the status of their wealth. And so right now, Venus goes into Taurus. It's a good time for you to be relating to your wealth, relating to the money that you want to create, relating to how you're going to build substantial wealth and luxury for times to come, because Taurus is fixed. It's fixed, so it's stubborn. It's not moving. How are you going to create stubborn money? And how are you going to, whether that be investments, whether that be whatever it is, investments, real estate, teaching, spirituality, whatever it is, it's time to ground into it, and it's time to move into that space and relate to your money. So let's take a look at how we're relating to our money around March 16th. Or just our worth in general, because our worth doesn't always have something to do with money. And I also want to make a note of that when we talk about Taurus, because yes, it's the money house. It's practical. It's the money sign. But it's also a sign about our natural worth, our gifts, our talents, the things that we do well, the things that we value within the self. So, and we move to Mercury, then leaves Pisces, and it goes on to Aries. So come out of that abyss of communication, and then we're going right into fiery communication, instinctual communication, leadership communication with people that may be the first time that they've heard something. We may be doing a lot of things first right now. The first person to say this specific thing, the first person to talk to this specific person. You are in your God body self when it comes to Aries. So you're communicating instinctually. You're communicating without really a thought, but more so just an instinct. So of course, be careful anytime that we're dealing with Aries, because it's a hot fire. And what do hot fires do? They burn. So they burn, but they burn the trail, and they trailblaze a trail for innovation as well. So it's not, a bad burn. Most of the time it's for innovation and inspiration. And then March 20th, we're going into actual Aries season. So we got Mercury in Aries as the sun moves into Aries. So lots of fire in the personality, lots of fire in the way that we communicate. The ego is going to be on fire because the sun is in Aries. So it's a time for us to start new beginnings that are bold, that are instinctual, that are no fear. Like Aries season is a time to pop it, like pop out, have a good time, be, an embodiment of God, be an embodiment of the Spirit of God. And, Aries is also like a child. It's like a kid, because it doesn't think about things. It just does it instinctually. A baby doesn't think about if, I need to wait till I get here to poop. It just poops, A baby doesn't wait to cry. It just cries. And so that's the energy of Aries. Go with what is in the present, honestly. Okay, March 21st, we have a new moon in Aries. So remember, the new moon is a time for us to call things in, because we already had the full moon in Virgo. So we know what we were releasing so that we can do this, so that we can call things in. And it's a perfect time to start new projects for sure. Springtime is always a perfect time to start something new because it's like the newness of the cycle. So it's always a time to start something new. It's always a time to create something, put something out. It's always a time to just, kind of go for it in a very fiery way, very passionate way. It's always a time to just like take a moment to be present with life, like be present with your life and what it is and what it has grown to be and what it will consistently grow to be, especially with this new moon. Okay, March 23rd, Pluto goes into Aquarius. So around the 23rd, just be looking for, see what goes on with your groups. See what goes on with your friendships. See what things may come out or how things could be destroyed only to better them, everybody that's involved. Only to better the group, only to better mankind, because Pluto is a destructive energy, but Pluto only destroys so that the newness can come out. And I think that's a perfect time, right at the end, right at the beginning of Aries season. So look for that in groups. Look to see how things are destroyed so they can be built better. Look how that happens as far as humanity. All right, March 25th, we got Mars entering Cancer, which Mars technically doesn't like to be in Cancer, but just, look for things going on with your, because Mars is fiery, Cancer is watery. So look for things going on with your family. Look to see how you and your family are communicating, how you and your family are loving each other, how the different things that you say and do that are instinctual, how that has either come from your family or how you are making your family a witness to it, to how you nurture, how you mother yourself, ideally, and then also others, because Cancer, like I said, is definitely about the family. So March 25th, Mars goes into Cancer. At this time, when Mars goes into Cancer, just take special care to the family. Like I said, I tried to think of just keywords for each sign, just things that, are just very relevant to each energy, because that's what it is. It's an energy. So Cancer is all about the family. It's about the mother. So look for how the mother kind of expresses itself instinctually, whether that be your mother, whether that be you, whether that be the women in your lineage. It's time to take note of how they have expressed themselves. And there could be, a little fiery sentiments going on in the home around this time. So just really pinpoint the energy of the signs, and then from there kind of feel into what these times feel like for you. Remember, Mercury is in Pisces right now, so I hope this was clear. If it wasn't, it may have been airy-fairy, but take what you can from it. Take what resonates. I love you all very much. Please like, share, and subscribe, of course. And if it resonates with you. Love you all to absolute infinity. So, sending love, sending peace, and sending abundance.